Hey everyone, today I'm coming to you with a review on the brand new Marvel Legends Puff Adder Build-A-Figure Waves Yelena Belova. Now I have to say I was really looking forward to this figure in this wave. There are a lot of figures in this wave that I do really like, but she was definitely at the top for me. I really am a huge fan of her character in the MCU, and I know a little bit of her in the comics, but not too much. More acquainted with her in the MCU. There isn't really too much going on here though with the actual figure. It is majority reuse, but what we do have here I'm very much happy with. So without further ado, let's get into the review for the Marvel Legends Puff Adder Build-A-Figure Waves Yelena Belova. Now, as always, I do want to start off with the packaging for this figure. This is just in your standard Marvel Legends plastic-free packaging. On the front, you have a rendered image of the figure, as well as an image of the character from the comics. On the back of that render, the name up top and the Marvel Avengers logo down below. On the side, you have a comics image of the character as well, although that is a different image than the one that is on the front, which is definitely interesting. They tend to usually just have the same image on the front and the side, but in this case, I guess that's just not what is going on. On the back, you do have the Build-A-Figure piece that she's included with, being the torso for Puff Adder, another rendered image of the figure that is a different pose, as well as all of her accessories, which is an absolutely insane amount, especially for Marvel Legends in 2023. There is the price of the figure that I paid. I got her at GameStop Canada. On the other side of the box, you do have the Puff Adder Build-A-Figure wave, along with all the other wave mates for Yelena Belova, Molecule Man, Baron Von Strucker, Yelena Belova, Wonder Man, Orb, and Ultimate Captain America and Extremis Armor Iron Man is essentially before this, but he's not included here because he doesn't include a Build-A-Figure piece. Review for the Iron Man, Molecule Man, and Baron Von Strucker are out now. The rest will be coming very soon. But other than that, I guess, well, I'll show the top, just the A for Avengers, as well as the Marvel Legends logo and the Puff Adder Build-A-Figure logo. But other than that, not too much more going on. So let's get on to the Yelena Belova figure herself. And here we have the Yelena Belova figure in all of her glory with all of her many accessories, which once again is a very impressive amount. Now, I do want to start off with the biggest accessory being this long rifle. Now, I believe this is the second time that we are getting this in the Legends line. It could be like the third or fourth, but I don't recall this coming with any other figures. This is my first time getting it because the first figure that was included with this was the white suit Black Widow, the comic white suit Black Widow, I believe. So I do not have this, and I do have to say, for my first time getting this, I'm very impressed by this accessory. It is fairly realistic for Hasbro, and you do have a lot of intricate detail going on throughout, and I do really like the color scheme that they did go with. My main gripe with this, though, is this strap going around. I have tried numerous times to get this wrapped around her like it is on the box. Here, the image of it. Just like that. And it is damn near impossible. I've tried all the different ways that I think I can, and honestly, I just gave up. So just take my word for it. It does not work, and that is a little bit of a bummer, but still, when she holds this gun, it does look very nice. And the gun itself, especially, you can just take this off, especially with it off, does look even better in my opinion. Now, the next two accessories included with this Yelena figure are two of her smaller guns. Now, they are essentially the exact same, except one of them does have a scope or extension, or a silencer. I don't exactly know what to call it. I'm not too familiar with gun lingo, but yeah, that being said, they are the exact same gun, which is quite crazy. They must have glued this silencer in because, like I mentioned, it is the exact same mold. I don't imagine them making an entirely new mold for this, but hey, I could be wrong. That being said, there is two little holes on the tips of each of these guns, which can be used for her other accessories. Great segue, being either the smoke effects, which there is one of the smoke effects that is kind of the longer ones, and it is in a darker gray, which I believe that is the first time we are getting it in that color. It is translucent, as well as the other smoke effect, which, as you can see, is a little bit smaller, and you can put both of those on her gun or her guns. And the other accessories are lasting effects, which are in red, which is really cool to get. We haven't got them in that color before, I believe, so it is always great to get these effects in different colors, and they definitely do add to just the whole Legends line in general. And as you can see, well, if it goes on, I don't want to break the long kind of silencer thing. It pegs in very nicely, and they do look very good. You can definitely get some really cool poses with both of these sets of effects. And then lastly, for accessories with this Yelena Belova figure, she is included with a standard set of female fists. I didn't mention this, but on the figure right now, she does have a pair of trigger finger hands / gun holding hands, which those are kind of the primary hands, especially with all these guns that she's included with. I don't imagine you wanting to use these, but they are a very nice inclusion nonetheless. Now, with all of her accessories out of the way, we can focus on the figure herself. Now, I do want to start off with the head sculpt here, which I personally do like. I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of it, which is fair, not to be greedy, especially after showing all of those accessories. I really do think this figure really would have benefited from a alternate head sculpt, especially seeing the under half of this mask. It does have some emotion going on, at least to my eyes. I love what they have going on there, and I really wish we could have seen a attempt at them doing a completely unmasked head sculpt, but that is not the case, and I don't believe we will get a Yelena figure like this in a long time, so that is definitely a downer. But the head sculpt as it stands does look very good. This is kind of her spy mask, which is very iconic to Yelena in the comics, but there is a lot of times Yelena doesn't have it on as well, which would have been nice to be represented in figure form. The hair also does have some swoop going on, which, you know, some people like, some people don't. I do think in this case it does work, although it definitely also impacts her kind of gun going around, like I was mentioning. The strap is the main problem, but the hair does not help by any means. Now, for the rest of the figure, it is very simple. It is kind of just a standard black suited female body, which does cause a little bit of problems for me because we have all of these brand new sculpted female figures, double jointed elbows, all pinless, but this is kind of a older figure. To me, at least, this looks like a figure that would have been released 2 or 3 years ago, which, you know, those figures back then were still pretty good, but just seeing all of the figures we get nowadays, especially for a character as prominent as Yelena Belova, I really do think she would have benefited from double jointed elbows, especially with all the guns she's included with, as well as pinless elbows, as well as pinless legs. That would have been very nice to get, but that is not the case. And I especially say that because in the summer, we are getting that super articulated Black Widow, and a lot of people are going to want to have the two of these figures, or this figure and that figure rather, together on the shelf, and that one's going to just be leaps and bounds better in my opinion because of all the new parts. But this is kind of just a old figure, so I don't know if it will stand the test of time. I just personally wish she would have been included with a brand new body sculpt, or just the new female double jointed body sculpt, but that is not the case. And what we do have here still is pretty good, but, you know, not amazing. But to focus on the body sculpt that we are given with this figure, I believe it is all completely reuse. I could be wrong on that. The only reason that is making me want to say that is the upper torso and this lower torso have this kind of seam going throughout, as well as this kind of design up top there, which I don't believe we've seen that before. I could be wrong. If you know what figure that was used with, if it was used with a previous figure, please let me know what the figure was in the comments below, because it is kind of bothering me. I can't tell if that is a new sculpt or not. But for the rest of this figure, I believe it is just the legs and the arms that were used on the Black Widow figure, for example, that was with the bike. Came out in like 2018. You know which one I'm talking about. There's only one Black Widow figure with a bike, but other than that, the only thing I want to talk about is this belt with the holster. That does look very nice. I love the Black Widow logo, as well as the kind of silver paint that is going on, or kind of a gunmetal gray rather, that is going on for the buckles and just the circle in the middle. But she does have a holster as well, which you can use both guns. But the main thing that I really do like is that you can put the gun with the silencer in there, because there is a hole at the bottom. So yeah, it is the same gun, like I mentioned numerous times in the accessory portion of the video, so you can put the other gun as well. But if you want, you can also put the silencer gun. And I do wish though that she did have another holster. I don't know if that's accurate, but because she's included with 2 of those guns, it would have been really nice to have storage for all of those weapons. But just having the one holster, in my opinion, is more than good enough, especially because it does have room for the silencer to come down. There's a little bit of detail though on the side, kind of some X's. Is Yelena a part of the X-Men? No, she is not. She's a part of, well, she is a part of the Thunderbolts, I believe, but I could be wrong on that. That might just be MCU-wise. My friend was telling me that she isn't a part of the Thunderbolts in the comics, but I don't believe that necessarily. Let me know in the comments below. But other than that, that is all that I really have to say with this figure. Like I mentioned, it is a fairly simple sculpt. Once you get through the head sculpt as well as the belt, it is just a standard female black body. But other than that, let's get on to her articulation. Now, for the articulation on this Yelena Belova figure herself, it is exactly what you would expect. The head does go down. Actually, that is a lot. Back, though, not at all, really, because of all of that hair. A little bit of tilt, not really. Full 360, and that is kind of the full range of movement that you get. The arms go out that much. Down, full 360, single-jointed female pinless, I guess you could say. Elbows, which do go in a little bit more than 90, and you do also have rotation there. And then this hand is on a horizontal hinge, up, down, full 360, and this hand is on a vertical hinge, up, down, full 360, and the set of fists are both on horizontal hinges. Ab crunch goes down that much, back full 360, legs kick forward that much, back splits, upper thigh cut, double jointed pinned knees, and the ankles go up that much, down, and ankle rocker pivot. Now, first for comparisons, here we have Yelena next to two of the Black Widow Marvel Legends, the retro carded one, as well as the Walmart exclusive one. I don't exactly know the name of that one, but I do know it is a Black Widow. Here we have Yelena next to the Black Widow on the bike. Now, I did look at this figure. It is on the exact same body, essentially, and it does have the same lower torso, but a different upper torso. So the lower torso is the same as this, but that is still a question. I don't know if that is new. Once again, let me know in the comments below, and that's what they look like, or what she looks like off the bike. I really do like this Black Widow figure. This is definitely my favorite Black Widow that they have done so far, but that is guaranteed to change by summer of 2023. Next up for comparisons, here we have the Yelena figure next to the Winter Soldier from the Crimson Dynamo wave, as well as the US Agent from the Controller Build-A-Figure wave. And then lastly, for comparisons, here we have Yelena next to two of her wave mates, being the Ultimate Captain America, as well as the Extremis Armor Iron Man. Review for the Captain America coming very, very soon. Now, for my final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Yelena Belova figure, I do have to say, even though with all of my complaints into account, I do still really enjoy this figure. It is likely the only Marvel Legends comic book Yelena Belova figure we will get for ever, I want to say, but you never know. We will definitely probably get one in the next 5-10 years. But as it stands, I still really do enjoy this figure. And for a comic book Yelena Belova figure, I think it does a pretty good job. I don't want to say a very good job, because with all of the Marvel Legends technology out now, I do really think they could have done a lot better. But as it stands, this is a pretty good figure nonetheless, especially with all of those accessories, even though I wish they would have included a extra head, but that is kind of besides the point. But for my rating on this figure, I think I'm going to have to give it a 7.8 out of 10. I really do enjoy it, but the only problems with it, well, not the only, the main problems with it is that I do wish it was included with a extra head sculpt, as well as I just think the whole body of this figure could have been done a lot better. But that is essentially all that I really have to say about that. Please let me know what you think of this figure in the comments below. Do you like what they have going on here? Do you not? As always, I really like enjoying and hearing what you guys have to say. But until my next video, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and I will see you in my next video. But until then, bye guys.